Hey guys, Dylan Tommy here. Time for a green room update. The fish room has been through some changes in the last month and a half, and I'd like to kind of go through and take a look at some of these things. What I've done was I bought a new rack system, and what it's allowed me to do is consolidate some tanks, get rid of a couple of my 10 gallons, and kind of keep these 20 longs down here and this 20 long up here in the guppy tank, which is also a 20 tall. And been consolidating some things, remodeling a bit. It's kind of a good time of year to get in your fish room and kind of check on the electricity, check on the tanks, make sure everything's running pristine, and kind of go through the system itself. So that's what I've done. As I've moved some tanks out, I still have these two 10s here, and they're slowly going to be phased out and they'll be going. I have a lot of nice plants kind of still left and still thriving very well in here, like that Madagascar lace and all this moss that's just growing so awesome on this shell here. But some nice lush vegetation in this tank still, so it's been hard for me to part with a lot of the 10 gallons yet. But I have been moving some things around, adding a couple of plants to the Paludarium, and just getting busy in the fish room. Let me show you what I kind of have left over here. I moved these two 10s over to this side. So right here is just Mr. Mojo, my betta, which he holds such, sentiment in my heart. I just don't want to part with this tank just yet. Plus I have some Anubias in here, and I don't have Anubias in any other tank. It's been growing very well on a lot of this driftwood in this tank, so didn't want to really part with this tank just yet. Plus Mr. Mojo, I mean, come on. I don't want him going anywhere. So he's going to hang around a bit, but a lot of these 10s I will consolidate. This Daniel tank will likely be completely broken down and added to either the large 55 or the 20 longs that I have. But wanted to go through because I've moved several things around. The bureau, the double 10 rack that I kind of had down there that Mr. Mojo used to live in was completely thrown out. These new rack systems I have are beautiful. They support up to 2 tons. I mean, it's great aquarium rack system. So I was happy to kind of get in the fish room and go through some things. Like I said, get at my electricity, go through the filters. It's the perfect time of year to do that. I would advocate to anybody, you get a fish room, the year is ending and it's time to go through that stuff. Check your outlets, check your air lines, check your filters, make sure your stuff's running pristine, and you can start your fish room off in 2015 all ready to go. But yeah, I wanted to upgrade the fish room a little bit, so I did move some things around. Check out the guppy tank now that it's up here. I was happy to move this into eye line rather than down below like I have it, because this tank has been so fun the last year and a half. Just producing guppies for me. And they're all beautiful. Happy to move some things around. Like I said, I'll keep cruising. I got the crebensis down here now. Pulled a lot of wisteria out of this tank. I actually have some of the clippings kind of floating in the Paludarium right now, just in the small water feature I have at the bottom, helping to kind of establish that system, bringing in all the good bacteria off those plants. The crib fry are growing out just fine. Every fish in here has adapted to the move very well, so I'm happy about that, even though I kind of gut in every tank and really clipped a lot of the vegetation. With the amount of time I spent building the Paludarium, the tanks kind of were neglected for a couple of weeks, and most of them are really overgrown. So if you take a look at these tanks, you can see that they've really had big trimmings. I mean, a lot of the wisteria growth that I have in this tank was completely taken down. I mean, you'll see what happened to all the wisteria clippings when I go into the Paludarium. But those tanks were just completely trimmed just because they needed it. They were so overgrown. This is the only tank that I really hadn't done much with in the last several months. Just letting it grow out. And what had happened was the mother Amazon sword is continuing to shoot out these runners here. This is the 4th runner I have, and you see it growing across. And what I'm likely to do is clip some of these other runners to the swords that are, you know, firmly rooted in the substrate. You see, it doesn't really need to be supported by the mother plant anymore, so I'm likely to get in the large 55 and do some maintenance fairly soon. Adjust the system so that maybe my crypts will be thriving a little bit better, because I know this mother plant is just so well rooted in the substrate that it's hard for these little crypts to kind of get a foothold on this side. I mean, she keeps throwing out these runners. Look at this. This one's coming right up to the top. So what I'll do is I'll clip some of the old ones, the ones that don't need to be fed by the mother, and kind of clean it up a little bit. The baby tiers actually carpeted a little bit in this small area, just where they could. But like I said, this large Amazon sword mother plant is doing just a fabulous job of being rooted in the substrate, putting off all this lush growth and progeny. But there's the green room, guys. Like I said, moved a lot of things around. Had fun doing it, even though it was a lot of work. The tanks needed it, like I said, just because I had neglected them for a couple of weeks when I was building the Paludarium. But still in the process. Like I said, these two tanks will go. Not sure what I want to do with Mojo. He is just, you know, got a little special place, so I'm not sure I want to part with him just yet. But it's just a tiny little 10-gallon that I'll likely be able to put somewhere. Here, let's take a quick look at the Brichardi fry before I dig into the Paludarium, because I noticed that there's a lot more. And different sizes too. See how there looks like there's two generations there? Or maybe two different spawns at different occasions? Because there's several of them that just look much larger than the smallest fry in the tank now. But I'm keeping an eye on them. We'll watch them. They're really cool. The Brichardi are great. They're just beautiful. There's Mama. She's good. This is her first spawn, so I wasn't sure how she would do. But they're in there, and she's been guarding them. See, there's a couple, two larger ones right there. They just seem so much more mature than the smaller fry. And that's cool. The Brichardi do exhibit a collective nursery, meaning the younger offspring will help parent some of the younger fry. But here we go with the Paludarium. I've added some plants. All the wisteria is now in here trying to help stabilize this water feature. And we're clearing. We're doing okay. I did take some of the driftwood out of here to help the water establish a little bit, and it's clearing. It does a lot better since I've added some more life in here. And I just got a couple terrarium plants. I also had ordered several bromeliads, so we got a kind of stuck here. And some baby tears. You see them kind of draped on the structure itself. But slowly adding plants, slowly trying to get this system established. I mean, it'll take a while to get it seeded with all the necessary bacteria and life. And I haven't added, you know, some of my favorite epiphytes yet. You know, this whole face is open here for orchids that I plan to buy, or any other epiphytes that can grow kind of on this face. But I did drape a lot of Java moss in certain areas just to kind of get that life growing. It's kind of hanging off the face. It's actually all over here. It just helps feed the system. But there's the Paludarium. This is week 1, the end of week 1, and I have some vegetation in here now, but we're still establishing. We're not quite there yet. It will be some time before I introduce any kind of animal, if I even do introduce any kind of animal other than fish. And this tank's not established just yet either. I just loaded it up with wisteria all the clippings, a couple of the Amazon sword clippings too, just for the fun of it, just to add some life and get the system going. But that's the Paludarium update, guys. It's rocking. We're getting there. Like I said, week 1, and we actually have some vegetation in there, so hopefully within the next update we can see this water completely clear. It was actually a little more clear earlier. I kind of had stirred it up this morning when I was playing in there. But thanks for hanging out, guys. I'll keep you updated as far as natural aquatics goes. With this move and all the remodeling, it's been a lot of work, and the tanks have kind of paid for it. But in the next couple of weeks, with the winter season, I'll be indoors and I'll be scaping these tanks, and we'll finish off the remodel, and I'll give you another nice green room update on how these tanks have kind of turned out. But thanks for hanging, guys. Stuck into the Mbuna real quick, why not? They just ate, so they're splashing around a little bit. A little feisty this afternoon. You guys have a good one. Appreciate you tuning in. Tank on.